Hey everyone, my name is Reggie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm really excited to be sharing with you a very fun video, or at least I think it's really fun, and you'll see I'm in a slightly different angle. I'm still in front of my bookshelves, but I'm sitting down, and that's because today's video requires my laptop, and I will be sharing with you my Goodreads Unpopular Opinions. So this is a video I saw on Lala's channel, Murphy's channel, and Roya's channel. So the idea behind this video is going through your Goodreads and looking through the ratings that you gave pretty low star ratings to that got pretty high, and vice versa. I was talking to Roya actually about how I wanted to do this video, but I wasn't sure about it because I don't often rate books 1 star, even though there's definitely books that I've read that I would now give 1 star. And I kind of have this like weird hiccup about like re-rating a book, even though I read it years ago. I may have loved it at that time, and that star rating was reflective of how I felt. But the thing is that star rating isn't reflective of how I feel about the book now. And I used to be much looser with my star ratings, we'll say. So this is going to be a fun video because I may be re-rating some books. We're going to take a look through my unpopular Goodreads opinions, and there may be some star rating changes in there, and we'll see what happens. If you enjoy this video, you should definitely give it a thumbs up. You should also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I post new bookish videos every week. So for the purposes of this, let's say a 3.5 or below. If I gave that a 4 or 5 stars, that's pretty unpopular opinion because the averages would have to have skewed that rating down. So far, nothing. We've got a couple that are a little bit close, but it seems like a lot of what I'm rating books are kind of indicative of what a lot of other people are rating books, which is interesting because I never feel like I have the most like popular opinions when it comes to like books ratings. But you know, clearly that's not necessarily the case right here. So that's pretty close, and I knew this one. B.J. Novak's collection of short stories isn't like the most popular book out there, but I absolutely loved it. I wasn't expecting a lot from it, and I was blown away by some of those short stories. I don't see anything. Okay, here's one. We're in the 4 stars. Rana and Jamel by Pamela L. Laskin has an average of 2.89 stars. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in the Iranian and Pakistan conflict, and it's told entirely in verse. And when I was reading through the Goodreads reviews of why this had gotten such low ratings, a lot of people's complaint was that it was like too predictable, or like the ending or the love story or the insta love of it all. And I'm like, do you guys realize you were reading a Romeo and Juliet retelling? It's like insta love 101. I don't know what people were expecting when they read this and what they thought it was going to be, but I particularly loved it. That's funny that I gave Allegiant 4 stars. That's so not a 4 stars. We're not gonna go through all like my 3 stars today, I don't think. Let me know if that would be a video you're interested in seeing though, me going through my Goodreads and re-rating books that I read a long time ago, because I think I'm gonna do that one day. Here's another one. 3.3 stars, 2 Rooms by Lauren Oliver. Got a 4 from me, but a 3.3 overall. I liked this book. I think it's a character study. It's very slow paced. It's all about the characters and the place they're in, and there's not basically any plot going on other than a bunch of characters interacting with each other and dealing with things, and I think it's so beautiful. I love it. I do tend to like Lauren Oliver, and that's also just an unpopular opinion in general, but I did really like this one in particular, and it was her first adult book. That's a close one. 3.55 for As I Descended by Robin Talley. This is a Macbeth retelling. Apparently the Shakespeare retellings aren't doing so good in the YA world. I thought this was such a fun time. It's kind of like a horror story, and Macbeth, it has some diversity. I've heard the rap isn't done super well necessarily. The diversity is there. Whether it's a good portrayal or not, I can't speak to. Here's another one that I know is an unpopular opinion. Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll got an average of 3.48 stars. This was super hyped up hit the bestseller, people were loving it, and then other people read it because other people were loving it and they were super disappointed by it and gave it super low ratings. I will say that the main character in this book, she's kind of stuck up. You don't necessarily love her, but like you don't need relatable characters all the time and you don't need to love her, and that's part of her story. And I loved this book a lot. So yeah, I think I actually gave it a 4.5 stars. If you read my review, I think I type in 4.5, but like I'm super excited for her next book. I have an arc of it and I'm so excited to read it next month. I don't know, a lot of people just didn't like this one as much as I did, I guess. 3.4 to There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. That is actually one I knew because this has pretty mixed reviews. People really liked it or hated it. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars just because I thought it was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. Those mixed reviews really scared me off. And honestly, this is not a book I would have ever really read, but I had to read it for the YA Booktube Awards and it was so much better than I thought it'd be. This is a slasher horror inspired book and I thought it followed the conventions of a horror film very well, and I was entertained the entire way through. Had some jump scares. It was good times. I'm really excited to see them adapt this. Netflix acquired this, so I'm excited to see what they do with it. So this is interesting. A lot of my like unpopular opinions are coming from the 4 stars. Another Lauren Oliver, Panic. I mean, I get it. That's definitely not her best book, and I probably wouldn't give it like a 4 star if I read it today. It'd probably be like a 3.5. Maybe someday. A so not good book. So yeah, we're not gonna do the re-ratings today necessarily for all of them. Okay, now we're into the 3 stars. So let's go back up and check the books I rated quite low. So I think first we're going to see, yeah, quite a few books that don't have ratings just because they were reread. Okay, let's start with the good one. The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. That is so being re-rated to a 1 out of 5 stars. This is a collection of bind-up novellas set in the Throne of Glass series, and I'm not the biggest Throne of Glass series lover, but this definitely made me a Selena Sardothian hater. That would also be The Subtle Art of Not Giving It an F. Didn't like that book. I think that was just very sexist and repetitive and not very helpful at all. So I gave that a 1 star. We're changing it. So I guess we didn't really define the realms of this. We'll say a 4 star is a loved book. This is close enough for me. We have The End by Lemony Snicket, which is the last book in the series of Unfortunate Events. This is a 3.99. I gave it a 2 stars. I'd say it's kind of like a 2.5, but really didn't necessarily love this book. It was just kind of a letdown. It was disappointing, but the series is still phenomenal, and the TV show is so good. We have Cassandra Clare's Clockwork Princess. I knew this was going to be on this list. I don't like Cassandra Clare endings. I think they are so bad, and this one in particular, I really hated the epilogue. I've talked a bit about it, but basically, I just wasn't a fan of how things went down here. In particularly, like I said, didn't like the epilogue and the love story and how all of that kind of came out in the end. I just thought it was cheap and a cheat, and I didn't really like it. And let's give that a 1. I think we'll keep Every Day at 2 stars, but that is also pretty well loved. It's close enough to a 4. One of Us is Lying is a 4.07 stars, and we're going to change that to a 1 as well because that is such a toxic book, such a damaging book. I talked about it, it's in my review. It's just uses people's like lives and representations as like plot twists, and it's garbage. We also have Stalking Jack the Ripper, which is another book I read for the YA Booktube Awards and did not like. I thought that the main character, who thought she was very feminist, was actually just a huge perpetuator of girl hate, and I was not here for it. Gave that a 2 stars. I think we can leave that. But we have The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Audier, which I am changing to a 1 star. I thought that was so boring, and I didn't like the love story, and I was just not on board with it at all. This is kind of close to a 4. We can talk about it. Love at First Sight by Josh Sundquist. I am sad that I didn't love this because Josh is beloved and I love him, and I wanted to love this book, but I didn't. I just found the characters flat and a lot of it predictable and just not very consequential, and I don't know, I felt like parts of it were kind of problematic. I'll keep with the 2 star rating though because I think it was well written. Hunting Prince Dracula has higher ratings than Stalking Jack the Ripper did, I think. Yeah, that's interesting. I like this one slightly better, so I guess I get it, but not very much. We're gonna keep that at 2, but I found it very formulaic. That's kind of close. Love Letters to the Dead. It's just a Perks of Being a Wallflower ripoff. Colleen Hoover's Ugly Love should definitely be a 1 star. Hands down, the most toxic relationship in books. It's so horrifying. Ugh, so bad. Oh, I was not a fan, and I have not read a Colleen Hoover book since. Opposition by Jennifer L. Amatra is the conclusion of the Lux series. Wasn't a fan. 2 stars. Same with Into the Still Blue. This was a trilogy conclusion. I just was not a fan of. I found both of those just like lackluster. Salem's Lot by Stephen King. This is close enough to a 4, I'd say. I found this to be a train wreck of a book, and it was super pretentious. Selection, that's definitely a 1 star for me, and that is definitely making that an unpopular opinion. People love the series, I do not. Another one I knew was gonna be on here, Shatter Me, has a 4 exactly. I gave it a 2 star, that's probably pretty generous, but I think I'll keep it as a 2 for now. We'll think about it. Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I just don't know if I liked it because I was bored, or if it's just because I don't like magical realism, or what. So now we're looking for some that are unpopular. That's, I feel like, an unpopular opinion on BookTube to not like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. However, according to this, it's not like all the way to a 4. But yeah, I just really didn't like that book. Again, with the Selection series, I gave the 3rd one 2 stars, so I guess I didn't like it that much more than the first one. Graveyard book, I just don't think I like Neil Gaiman. I found this book to be boring. Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses. That should be 1 star. And I just, again, find everything in this book problematic and awful and a horrible, horrible romance. Okay, now we're at 3 stars, so I guess that's it for now, and I'm already looking at some of these 3 stars and being like, yeah, they should have been 2 stars. One day I'll go through my Goodreads and fix all of this. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!